I love soccer. I've been playing soccer since I was 6 years old, and it was a way for my parents to get out the energy of a crazy kid who really couldn't sit still. It was something that I loved, and I just loved running around, playing with my friends, and it was a great way to spend any Saturday afternoon. As time moved on, soccer became more a skill-based sport. As much as I loved running around, the players who had good control with the soccer ball and were fast played, and the ones who weren't so fast, like myself, sat the bench. So, not ready to give up soccer, that is when I decided to become a goalie. And I have to say, this is probably the most pivotal moment in my soccer career. When I stepped in goal, it felt like I was meant to be there. And that's very special to me, and I feel that not many people in their life find some place that they were truly meant to be. I fell in love with soccer even more once I became a goalie. And from then on, any clinic, rec league, club league, I wanted to be involved in. I wanted to become a better goalie and a better soccer player. And that continued through middle school, and it was a no-brainer that I tried out for the high school varsity team as a freshman. Now, this was a very big challenge. In high school sports, freshmen usually do not start or make the varsity team. I'm very proud to say that I did start, and I was the varsity starting goalie my freshman year. And what made being in goal so special to me was that whenever I was there, any worry that I had during the day, anything that was going on in my life disappeared. I got in the net and I did what I knew how to do. And I just let my training and everything that I've learned take over. It was my own personal escape from the world around me. I also started my sophomore year, and our team actually did not do that well that year. Because of that, our coach signed us up for an indoor league in this winter of that year. Now, I've playing soccer for years, so I've been playing in an indoor league all that time, and I loved it, actually. It was a way for me to get more action as a goalie and more shots than I normally would in a game. At our first indoor game, I went to go make a save, a very, very simple save. All I had to do was step out and pick up the ball. And when I did that, I felt a horrible pop in my knee, an extreme amount of pain. Not the kind of pain that makes you cry, but the type of pain that takes your breath away. I immediately fell to the ground. And I didn't know what happened. But my first thought was, oh my gosh, I've never been hurt before. What's wrong with me? What's wrong? It was, I have to get back up. I have to play. Like, there is no other option for me besides I have to get up and I have to continue this game because I worked too hard the past 2 years to do anything different. That was not going to happen. I ended up being taken to the hospital and meeting with an orthopedic surgeon. That is when they told me that I tore my ACL ligament. Now, I had no idea what that was. I've never been hurt before. So I learned that an ACL is a ligament in your knee. It connects your thigh bone to your shin bone, and it allows you to make cutting motions. The best way I can compare it to is similar to a basketball player. You stop, you start, and you make those quick changes. Without your ACL, your two bones would shift and start to fall in on each other. I called that buckling, because that's, in my mind, what it felt like. And in between the time I would have to get surgery to, just walking around without an ACL, my knee buckled a lot. So that the night before surgery, my knee looked like that. It's a lot bigger than my other knee, for comparison, made with fluid and swelling. And when I got my ACL surgery, what they did was completely reconstruct the ligament. And by doing that, they removed the torn ligament, they took a piece of my hamstring to replace it, and drilled a hole into my thigh bone and then into my shin bone too, strung it through, and secured it with 2 screws. This is a major surgery, and they call it ACL reconstruction surgery. These next images are a little graphic, but this is what my knee looked like after surgery. I was put in a brace from my hip all the way to my ankle, locked straight. So I was walking around like a pirate throughout in school. People making fun of me a little bit because of how slow I walked, walking around me, which I did not blame them. I was walking incredibly slow. But I was locked in that brace for 4 to 6 weeks. Sleeping, eating, walking, doesn't matter. That thing was locked straight, and it was terrible. I hated that I couldn't be able to move. During that time, all of the muscle that I built up from just daily movement started to diminish because I was not using it. So I had to go through a recovery process. Now, normally this recovery process is 7 to 8 months. Well, I did not have 7 to 8 months to recover. I had 6 on the dot because there was no way I was missing my junior season. In my mind, I was convinced that I wasn't. And now my parents, my coaches, my doctors, my friends were all very, very hesitant of this and were not necessarily on board. But that didn't matter to me. I knew that I was going to come back. And every day I went to physical therapy, every day I woke up, that was my motivation, that I have to work to come back because I worked too hard to do anything else. I had to learn how to walk again. I had to learn how to bend my leg, straighten my leg, and do everything in between. You take for granted how you normally walk down the street or how you walk up and down steps, because I had to relearn all of it. And I remember spending 2 to 3 weeks at my physical therapist perfecting a walk without putting too much pressure on my right leg and compensating or, just trying to make up for the fact that there are screws in my left leg. And I was able to get through it. I'm very happy to say that I did come back from this. I came back 6 months, on the dot to start in the first day of preseason my junior year. And it was actually the best season I've had playing soccer. Our team ended with an 11-game winning streak, and I personally ended with a 10-game shutout streak, meaning for 10 games, nobody scored a goal on me. Our team won the very first home playoff game in girls soccer history, and I was on cloud 9. I came back, I beat the odds, and I had a great season. It was all continuing to go up. And I was thrilled. Senior year comes around and I'm ready to continue to play. I have 11 starting seniors, and me included, and we're ready to make a bigger district playoff run than we did last year. I was named captain that year, and we played our first game against Quakertown where I had another shutout. In my mind, everything was kind of coming up Devon. It was great. I was ready to play my senior night game, which is the biggest game of the year for a senior. It's when they honor you for all of the work that you've done. Your parents and your friends come to celebrate you, and you tell a little bit about yourself and about what your future plans are. The practice before that game was just like any other, and I was going through a little nervous because we had a couple people with some COVID scares, but we were ready. We were ready to play. And just a normal practice. I went up to save a ball that was crossing over the net, and I collided with my teammate. And I heard a pop. And I started to panic. Like, no, this can't be happening again. Like, that wasn't a pop I heard. I'm obviously starting to lose my mind here. It did pop. I did feel a pop. And I was told by my athletic trainer that I tore my other ACL, which meant I had to go through senior night on the sidelines. Now, you wouldn't be able to tell from this picture, but I had a hard night. My parents' faces, which they do not love this picture, I'm sorry guys, kind of show a little bit more on how we were all feeling. I felt completely useless. Some captain I was, sitting on the sidelines while my team played without me. My family came to support me, sitting on the bench. And I went home that night and broke down crying. I played soccer since I was 6. This is when it's supposed to be the biggest night for me, and I didn't even get to play it. All that work I put in for what? Sit the sidelines? I could have been a manager and did that. I wanted to play, and I didn't get to. And I can't tell you standing here tonight that I am completely over that, because I'm not. I continue to work through what happened that night. But I had to get my leg fixed. So these images, once again, are a little graphic. Every complication that I didn't have with my left, I had with my right. My muscle in my right leg didn't want to activate, so I couldn't lift up my leg properly. I had blood clots, a huge amount of fluid in my knee, and terrible swelling. And meanwhile, I was still the captain and soccer was still going on. It was probably my lowest point. I still completely felt useless. And what kept me getting up every day was, I'm still their captain, and I have to go, even if I really don't want to. And the season went on. I still continued to go. Some nights I got upset and cried when I came home. Other nights I didn't, but it was hard. I did not feel like the captain they named me to be. At the end of the season, I was awarded the Pride of the Program Award, which is a huge deal in soccer, and it should be an accumulation of everything that I've done. And I know that is why my coaches gave this award to me, and I am honored to have it. But at the time, I barely wanted to look at it. Like, I felt in my mind that this is the pity for the girl who didn't get to play her senior year. I knew that wasn't true in the back of my head, but that's how I felt. And all throughout this, I'm still recovering. And as time moved on and I continued to recover, my doctor, my orthopedic surgeon, told me this: that once torn, the athlete is 6 times more likely to re-tear or tear their ACL again. I am that statistic. I did. I tore it again. Technically, I tore my other one, but no one cares that my knees match. And dropping that news, he also said that he recommended that I don't play soccer again, which was devastating. It's been a part of my life since I was little. How could I stop playing? But once again, I realized that soccer isn't everything. Soccer allowed me to create the friendships and the life lessons that I continue to go through every day. And it's not all bad. Even though I am still recovering, to this day I am not cleared and back to completely normal with my ACL, I'm graduating. I'm going to college at the University of Tennessee in the fall, and I could not be more excited for this new start. Who knows what's going to happen in college? I'm so excited. But I'd like to leave you all with this quote from a book that I read, that you are strong enough to survive the fall. Once again, I am this quote. I survived the fall once. I survived the fall again. And I'm not saying that it was easy and that I always felt that I was strong enough, but I had to find a reason to get up every day. It didn't have to be some inspirational thing. First time it was proving myself and others wrong, and the second time it was an obligation I felt I had to my team. But it made me get up. It made me keep going. And I know that God forbid something like this happens again, I will continue to be strong enough to survive the fall. Thank you.